Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
TexAgs Live.
I feel like I should be listening to the theme song from the Jeffersons. You know, we're moving on up.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
It's a blessing to be in the position, and we're just thankful to be here. We're thankful to have the opportunity to go out there and play in front of the 12 man.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
It's been special. The 12th man this past week was unbelievable.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies. Buchanan,
Nuño,
a week from today.
a week from today.
What happened?
Does quote, fall camp start?
I think so.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I saw some social media reports or posts about it that you know, it had this list of every team in the country, and it had A&M, which, if you do the math, it makes all sense with the game against UTSA a month later. So ballpark a week from today. Maybe we'll be there. I think last year, day one, was it open to us? I don't remember if it was, but it'll be open next week to us, and we'll get to see this version of Texas A&M.
Begin to take shape.
Yep.
I'm really excited for this version. You know, I know that Aggies, and I understand it. I've got a, tell me if you agree, I sense that there's a little more apprehension among the general Aggie population than there typically is regarding this season. Because let's face it, A&M has cried wolf one too many times.
Yeah.
And yet, I think hopefully it'll pick up steam. It usually does, because I wouldn't predict any championships or anything like that, but I think this team has something.
I hope they have something. And I think, back to your point, I forget if I brought it up with you yesterday or on my own. I'm part of that issue, okay? Because I am apprehensive because of history.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said yesterday, history is not the future, right? Whatever happened under Fran, under Jimbo, under Summy, should not affect the way I look at Coach Elko. Unfortunately, it kind of does at times. But the reality is, if I believed in him a year ago, and we've outlined all the reasons why the bottom fell out last year, well, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to happen every year that way.
No, in fact, I think A&M's a much better team last year if they just had better luck with injuries.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that's been part of the narrative the last 5 years.
For a long time. And maybe the law of averages will come in and you'll get through a season relatively injury-free. Typically, you can look at championship teams and you'll look at their injury report.
Yeah.
And their injury report is in exact adverse to their win-loss record.
Right.
Fewer injuries, more wins. It's not that hard to figure out.
What it comes down to is, can you withstand the injuries that happen? Like Texas lost their starting running backs, and they were pretty darn strong at running the ball afterwards. Le'Veon goes down. I think A&M was pretty strong afterward, but not as strong. But they were. Amari Daniels was excellent for them, but but a different kind of running back.
Yeah, I don't. Yes, they would have been better with Le'Veon. He was their best player last year, but I don't think that was the reason they lost games. I think you look at A&M. There were other issues. I think their defense was actually the problem.
That was the problem. I agree.
But you look at all the injuries. When you mentioned Texas and made a great point, they lost their starting running back early, and had guys step in and play really well. I don't follow the Longhorns that closely, but I wonder how many other significant injuries they had last year. I know they lost Ewers for a couple of games, and it just so happened those two games were ULM and Mississippi State teams you're going to line up and beat, anyway. So I think it seems that, and again, if you're a Texas follower, I might be wrong, but it seems to me that Texas was one of those teams that got through the year relatively unscathed.
Unfair question. Do you feel better about the quarterback room today than you did a year ago today?
That's probably not.
I don't.
But it's because I felt good. I felt great about Connor Wigman this time last year.
And you felt really good about Marcel.
And I felt good about Marcel.
Yeah.
I'd seen him play in that bowl game.
Yep.
And I said, man, this guy's got something there. I mean, I really like his style of play. And while I'm very bullish on Marcel this year, I really don't know about his backups because I haven't really seen him play.
Yeah, I think that's where I am, and which goes back to that apprehension, right? Well, if A&M hasn't had a quarterback finish the season in the last 4 years, what do we know about this situation? Marcel put on some weight. I think he's going to be a better quarterback, and I am not going to go into a season like expecting doom and gloom because of injuries. But it is a question because I felt so high about Connor at this point, and then we saw that little glimpse from Marcel in the bowl game, and I was like, man, this guy, he could be the future.
Well, he is. And, if you keep him healthy, I think, I do believe he's going to be better than he was last year. We've talked about that. And I'm going to say why. But you got to keep him healthy.
Got to keep him healthy.
And it's funny. So let me ask you this. When you see Marcel running, and he's going to run a lot, and a linebacker starts closing in or a safety, what do you want him to do? Slide. When Kyler Murray was here, we had all kinds of people on our forums that criticized him for sliding. So and he wasn't a big guy. So are we going to do the same thing if Marcel Reed slides?
I want him to slide. I want a healthy quarterback for 13 to potentially more games. How about 14, 15, 16?
16 sounds good to me.
That sounds great. So, all right. I'm sure, you're a big music historian. You know a lot about music, right?
A little.
Yeah, You remember the whole East Coast, West Coast rap rivalry?
Well,
Suge Knight, Tupac.
It's really not my thing, but yeah, I heard about it. I read about it.
Yeah, you remember like the Source Awards, there was a lot of back and forth. People got shot during that.
Is Suge the guy that's kind of somewhat, he's a big dude. Is he somewhat not responsible, but accused of,
He's in the middle of everything, right? Like that. I think he's in jail right now.
Who's accused of whacking Tupac?
Well, depends who you ask.
Okay.
Some people say Diddy.
But is he one of them?
I don't know if they think Diddy did it.
No,
but some people think he's.
Knight.
No, Suge Knight and Diddy were. No. This is not what I wanted to talk about.
I don't follow. Okay. But East Coast, West Coast. Let's move on.
We have a current day version of that right now.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't think anybody's going to get shot.
Well, let's hope not.
Have you been paying attention to the Big Ten and the ACC coming after the SEC?
The Big Ten is coming after the SEC. I saw the Big 12. I saw Brett Lashley making some of the most inane comments. Only 6 teams have won. Huh?
ACC.
Is he ACC?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm getting my...
it's all mixed up.
I'm getting them all mixed up.
I got his commentary.
Why are you coming at... What have you done?
And I got Kurt Cignetti, who I kind of liked about 14 months ago. My opinion has changed on him.
Man, a guy, look, did he do a great job at Indiana?
Yeah.
For Indiana? Yeah. But
shut up.
What a favorable schedule. I mean, you couldn't have set it up much better than that.
We're going to go through that schedule in a moment, but let's start off with your boy, Rhett Lashley. Okay? That's the thing that TexAgs does. We call people somebody's boy when they're really not. All right. So your boy says... a shot at the SEC in defense of the ACC strength. The SEC's had the same 6 schools win the championship since 1964. Not a single one has been different since 1964. That's top heavy to me, not depth.
Well, let's see. So let's think. Obviously, Alabama and Georgia and Florida, and he said since 64. So Tennessee. Now, Texas is in the SEC now, so you'd have to say Texas. You'd have to say Oklahoma. Arkansas won in 65. So I got 7 right there.
So Alabama has 6.
And I probably left somebody out.
LSU has 3.
Oh, I left out LSU. So there's
Florida
8.
has 2.
Uh-huh.
Georgia has 2. Auburn has 1.
And there's 9.
Tennessee has 1. Obviously, we know Texas and Oklahoma did it in the Big 12.
But they're now in the SEC.
Correct. Would you like to know what the ACC numbers are?
Well, let's see. There's national championships. Well, Miami, Florida State, since 64. Okay, Georgia Tech shared one with Colorado. Clemson, obviously. I think they got 3.
Clemson has 2, 2016, 2018. Florida State's got 1 in 2013.
Clemson got one like 82 or 83.
Oh.
Homer Jordan is quarterback.
I
for
was
Danny
more
Ford.
looking. I'm sorry. I'm looking back at the last 25 years.
But I thought he said 64.
He did say 64. When I wrote my notes, I'm looking at the last 25 years in the modern era, BCS era of football. But regardless, Miami, as you mentioned. But here's a little note for you. 8 of the 10 last conference championships in the ACC has been who?
Clemson.
Clemson. Is that depth or is that top heavy?
That's pretty top heavy to me. The other 2, Florida State, maybe both times.
Yep.
So they've had 2. Yeah, it's kind of like some of those other.
Wait, I think it was Pitt. Didn't Pitt win it one year? Am I making that up?
Did they? Maybe. I don't know.
I might be making that up. But anyway, the point is, the SEC since the 2000s has 15 championships.
Since in the 2000s.
Yep. The ACC's got 3. Big Ten's got 2. The Big 12's got 2. The Pac-12's got 2-ish. If you take away the USC one, am I missing one? It was just USC 1, and then they took one of theirs away.
Well, are you giving the SEC Texas?
No.
Then you don't give the Big Ten USC.
The Pac-12 is what I said.
Okay, but if they're in the Big Ten now, USC, then the Big Ten would not get credit for USC's championships.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, but I'm saying the Pac-12 got credit for their championship.
I'm not even counting the Big 12. I mean, the Pac-12
as a conference.
Now they're a group of 5 or group of whatever.
Right.
Group of 6, maybe.
We're going to move now to Kurt Cignetti. All right. He goes.
Googling.
We figured we'd just adopt the SEC scheduling philosophy. We'll focus on those 9 conference games. And then your boy, Dave Portnoy from Barstool, who's now the new Fox Sports, version of Clay Travis. Michigan always accepts every challenge. I don't disagree with Cignetti. What is the point of playing real games when the SEC is a cupcake central and doesn't get penalized by the committee?
It's so stupid. It is so stupid. It's like, it's not like when I say the Big 12, the difference is, you're a triathlete. The difference between swimming in open water and wading across the kiddie pool.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. Now, the Big Ten, I'm not going to call them the kiddie pool, but it's still not the same. Yes, have they won the last 2 national championships? Yeah, they did. Mm-hmm. They've had, a couple of teams that were really good, but there's not even close to the depth. I mean, again, Indiana got in last year, but you want to talk about throwing stones in glass houses. Look at their 3 non-conference games, and their conference games were against. I think they played at least 3 or 4 of the absolute worst teams in the Big Ten.
Well, they played their first ranked opponent on November the 23rd.
Ohio State.
They
got just blasted.
Right. They played 2 ranked teams all season long, considering the playoffs.
And then Notre Dame beat them by 10, and it wasn't that close.
Right. So there's that. And I also want to go into perception or what the SEC does. You familiar with Brett Bielema?
I am.
Was he a good coach at Wisconsin?
He was.
Is he a good coach at Illinois?
He is.
Was he a good coach in the SEC?
He sucked.
Point made. I mean, he was terrible.
He was.
At a program that should be good, but has been down over the last 10 years, right? Last 15 years.
How many times did he fall to A&M?
Every time.
Yeah. And I'm not even there +1, because then there's one time he fell on the way to the game in 2013.
That's right. So I think that goes into it. So now I want to pull up Indiana's schedule.
Indiana.
From 24, okay?
Yeah.
All right? And I just want to play the game that A&M, and I'm not saying A&M's going undefeated in the same record as Indiana, but let's play the A&M game with this schedule.
I wish I had the records of his opponents there, how they finished.
FIU, you know what? While we're doing that, Reese Nygren can pull up these records by pulling up the Indiana schedule and just hitting them each time. So we'll go slowly so he can pull it up there at the Angry Elephant
The Florida
and Social Center. By the way,
Florida International.
I haven't told people.
What?
This is TexAgs Live.
It is TexAgs Live.
We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelry.
We are.
We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Yes, we are.
It's the Go Hours, 1 hour that we call the Go Hour.
Yes.
Presented by the Warehouse.
At CC Creations.
And this particular area.
The Cool Zone.
Presented by Holistic Planning.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, it is Holistic Planning.
Who is also the presenting sponsor of PKO.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Preseason kickoff this weekend.
I'm always the last to know everything at TexAgs.
Yeah. You don't read your newsletter.
Is there a newsletter?
Oh, yeah, every day.
Yeah.
No, I just made that up. Let's go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Reese Nygren, we're going to come to you. So you ready with some of these records?
Yes.
All right. The first game on the schedule for Indiana in 2024, if A&M were playing, is FIU, Florida International. I think A&M wins.
I would do too.
Okay, that's 1-0.
What was Florida International's record?
1 minute, it's loading.
Oh, 1 minute? I can't give you a minute, bro. It's already 8:16. I can give you 12 seconds.
Well, I don't think they were good.
No, they're Florida International.
Okay, next.
The next game. It's all right. This failed experiment didn't work.
They went 3-5 last year.
They only played 8 games.
That's probably their conference game, their conference record.
Western Illinois.
It doesn't matter.
A&M wins.
Leathernecks. It doesn't matter because it's an FCS school.
Right. At UCLA. Hey, I have nightmares of at UCLA.
UCLA had a good win late, a couple, but overall, the course of the season, UCLA was not good.
And let's remember who A&M was early too. Okay, like A&M wins that game. If Indiana wins 42-13, A&M wins by the same score.
Yeah, UCLA might have finished 6-7. I don't know if
5-7.
5-7.
Yeah, A&M wins. So 3-0. Charlotte, A&M wins.
Yeah,
4-0.
I mean, some girl.
Maryland,
another girl. Maryland, I think, was next to last in the SEC last year. I'm sorry, in the Big Ten last year.
Let's just say A&M wins because it's funner. It's more fun when we do it like that. At Northwestern, watch out.
Northwestern is another team way buried deep in the Big Ten standings. So if you're doing this, A&M 6-0.
Okay, that's cool. Nebraska, who, by the way, lost to Indiana 56-7. I'm not saying A&M would have done that, but I'm going to say they're going to win.
Was Nebraska about 500 last year?
7-6.
Yeah.
7-6, yeah. And that's a remarkable improvement for Nebraska.
I'm saying A&M wins.
Okay.
Because I like to say they win more.
Yeah, well, I think they've won all these games.
Okay. Washington.
Well, they really, took a step.
Is that the same Washington?
No. I don't know what Washington's record was offhand. I bet you they're around 7-5.
6-7.
6-7.
8-0.
Another losing team.
By the way, anybody who is listening from another fan base saying, these guys are delusional, there's no way. A&M was 7-1 with an SEC schedule at this point.
Yeah, with wins over Missouri and LSU.
Yeah, so whatevers.
And a close loss to Notre Dame.
At Michigan State.
Michigan State wasn't very good last year.
5-7.
5-7.
I say A&M wins.
Okay.
9-0. Right now, we're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, we're like playing under Sumlin. So November's coming and it's going to be a collapse, but moving forward.
Michigan. Now, I will say this. Michigan was a better team at the end of the year. This is towards the end of the year. A&M got hurt towards the end of the year, so I can't necessarily, but I think A&M wins that game.
I would have taken A&M over Michigan.
At Kyle Field?
Anywhere. I think A&M was a better football team. Now, Michigan won a big rival game.
Yep.
Shockingly over Ohio State. But I think Michigan probably went about 8-5 at the best, which is what A&M did. So coin toss, but in a better league, A&M.
Okay. At Ohio State, A&M loses.
Okay, I'm taking the Buckeyes. I'm not
loses.
delusional.
And then, oh my gosh, Purdue.
Purdue was awful last year.
So
were they like 3-9?
They were 1-11 last year.
1-11?
Dead last in the conference.
Hold on, but there's more. You play your first playoff game against Notre Dame, you lose by 10. Indiana does.
Yeah.
What did A&M lose to Notre Dame?
10.
So what? Hold on. A&M goes 8-5 last year in the SEC schedule, but nobody would disagree. Nobody. I don't care what fan base you're listening to, or you're listening to us, but where you're from. A&M with that schedule, at worst has 3 losses, more than likely 2.
And that's why you're talking out your gluteus maximus if you're saying, well, the SEC only plays 8 games, and therefore they've got an easier road. By the way, did you see the non-conference games within the season for Indiana? Did you notice that there was no Power 5 opponent? Unless I got that wrong. I saw Florida International, I saw Western Kentucky, and who else did I see as a non-conference opponent?
They had Old Dominion and Kennesaw State were also on Indiana's 2025 schedule.
No, 2024 is what I'm asking.
Charlotte.
So A&M played Notre Dame. So you tell me, yeah, one team played 9 conference games, but A&M played 8 SEC games and Notre Dame, who played a tougher non.
Look, I
non-conference.
consider you what your ranking is the day you play them. Okay. That's how I look at it, right? Not at the end of the year, because I think there are
injuries and things like that. Can make
so
a
if you were to pull, so they had 2 on their schedule ranked teams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you consider the playoffs, if you put up A&M schedule,
well, they played Missouri in the top 10, I believe.
They got Notre Dame
LSU
number 7
was in
at the
top
time.
10. South Carolina was ranked.
Number 9 Missouri.
Texas was in the top. Might have been 1
Number
or 2.
8 LSU and number 3 Texas. So 4 top 10 teams on A&M schedule.
So Notre Dame, Missouri, LSU, Texas. So that's the top. And then South Carolina was the top. They were ranked, I'm pretty sure.
They were not ranked that week. They
weren't ranked?
Uh-huh.
I find that surprising.
That's when it changed after that South Carolina game for them.
I find that surprising. Okay.
So there you go. Yeah, Kurt Cignetti.
Well, again, he's a big talker, and he did a great job last year.
He did a great job
at Indiana. But basically, he won the pillow fights that Indiana typically loses.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when they actually, had to
play
really fight,
yeah,
they lost, and often lost badly.
So let's do this.
Okay.
Do we take Cignetti to go eat at 1775?
No,
we don't take him.
No.
Okay. Do we take Brett Lashley?
Oh, absolutely not. They don't deserve it.
Fine. Do we take?
I guess if we were better people, you probably would, because
You're a way better person than me.
No.
You get more mad than I do, but I am a way worse human being.
Yeah, I think you probably don't hold grudges as long as I do.
I hate people.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know what? You can hate people, and I know you love barbecue.
Oh, yeah. Now I'm in a good mood.
1775 barbecue.
Take my worst enemy to 1775, and I might be his friend.
See? Better person than me.
Look, I'm smiling.
So Cignetti gets the succulent brisket.
Yeah, I've still told him he's wrong about the SEC versus the Big Ten, but we can talk about it and smile and eat succulent brisket.
And sausage with the jalapeno and cheese.
We can do that too.
And
that's your thing.
I love that. And I love those pork ribs.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And even the turkey that you like. But, and you know what? If they apologize and they say, yeah, we were wrong, kind of like Bob Stoops was when he was putting down the SEC back in 2013, then if they apologize, then we'll say, okay, we'll give you some of that queso mac and cheese as well.
Longest first segment ever, 1775, txbbq.com. Check it. Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games. They're at Olsen wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for 25 and 25 presented by La Casa Tequila.
La Casa Tequila C.
Raised in Aggieland, rooted in the SEC. Are you ready for number 23?
I am.
MJ. No, it's not MJ. It's, well, kind of.
MN.
Well, J for Junior.
Oh.
Mark Naboo Jr.
MNJ.
MNJ.
I like Mark Naboo. You know, he was the starting center last year, and then he got hurt in that Notre Dame game. Another one of those significant injuries that A&M had last year. I thought Coley did a good job at center, but I have to believe that they would have been better with Mark Naboo because he won the starting job.
100% agree. He would have, he won the job, got hurt, and if Coley was the backup, and then Coley was going to play a lot regardless, right? We knew that. But now you're stronger at that position for multiple reasons. Coley's got experience. Naboo was supposed to be the starter and physically very gifted. 6'4", 325, not 235. And last year started one game, unfortunately, as at center. So when you think about,
I thought Naboo was even bigger than that. You said 325.
That's what this note says.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought he was about 340.
He might be 340. He might be.
I mean, he's a huge dude. But I guess you're a huge dude at 325, right?
Right.
Huger, if I'm correct. I'm probably wrong.
You return all 5 starters. 7 contributors. You add Naboo to the mix, right? You feel really good about that offensive line that was second in the SEC in rushing, that was 5th in touchdowns, 4th fewest sacks in the league.
I really do. I think they could be. I'm not saying they will be because I know Alabama is supposed to have a really good offensive line. It could be the best offensive line in the SEC. If not, they're in the area code. And the Boos, I think, it just makes them better.
Yeah.
And man, you know, like him a lot. I think obviously my favorite memory is still him scoring that touchdown against LSU 2 years ago.
He's got he's quick for his size.
Mm-hmm.
He's fast, same thing, and they call him an immovable force in that locker room, which you kind of want from your center.
Yeah, you do. Now. You know, maybe he would have made a difference on those 4th and shorts. Maybe not, but maybe. And unfortunately, we don't get to know players the way you used to back in the day. So hopefully, he's got a nasty streak. I don't know that about him. He's probably a really nice kid. Haven't seen him play enough, unfortunately. I would have. The year before, he started like every game but one at guard.
Yeah, it's hard to break down, I think, on 25 and 25 offensive linemen because to me, the offense, no matter how physically gifted one person is, it's about the unit, right? Offensive line, if you talk to any offensive lineman, they'll tell you it's about, you know, what we do as a group.
Right, that's why they give out an award for a whole group.
For the whole
group. But let's face it, you know, the better the individuals are, the better the line is.
This is true, but the individuals have to be really good together. I guess
it's true. So you want your best 5 out there, and I think Mark Naboo is one of the best 5.
Again, you got a quarterback that is elusive.
Yes, you do.
You've got 3 different running backs that you can roll with,
yes.
right?
Mm-hmm. Maybe even 4, but 3 for sure.
So sometimes maybe a quarterback and a running game can make the offensive line look good. Sometimes the offensive line can make the running game look good. How about all 3?
All 3. Yeah. And if you have that little speed at receiver.
Oh, and by the way, they have speed at receiver, OB.
More speed. You know, I love to see those safeties having to play 10 to 12 yards deep instead of crowding the line of scrimmage from run support, which I think A&M saw a lot of that last year.
Let's do this. Let's hit a break. We'll come back. Trevor Knight's supposed to join us.
Trevor Knight?
Yeah.
I like Trevor.
I like Trevor Knight, too. We'll talk to Trevor.
I was watching just last night, the highlights of that Tennessee game.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Trevor Knight going like 70 yards for a touchdown. I thought that was going to nail it down, but it didn't.
All right. When insurance matters most, who's going to answer your call? That's Rollo Insurance. They're going to answer your phone call. You'll probably be able to see a bunch of the guys this weekend at preseason kickoff. They'll be there. Jason, Jackson, Morgan, Keith, the whole crew are awesome. And when you need insurance, we all need insurance. But when you're looking for the right insurance, you call them. If you're not really sure about your situation, just call them up. They'll talk you through the entire process, whether it's home, auto, or business, or ranch insurance. Start a relationship with experts who put you first. Your agent becomes familiar with your unique situation, providing a customized protection that mass market insurers simply cannot match. It's Rollo Insurance. When you need advice or have a claim, you speak directly with someone who knows you by name. That is the Rollo difference. Visit rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, or call them up 888-44-ROLLO. That's 888-44-ROLLO today. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Trevor Knight joining us. Aggie great, of course. Oklahoma great, but we consider the maroon side of things here. What's up, Trev?
What's going on, guys? Good to be on this morning. We're getting close to the start of the season. You can feel it kind of bubbling under your skin, right? So a lot of talk going on, a lot of fun times, and a lot of speculation as well.
What an office, bro. Like, that is, like, you know, there's a couple guys that come. Mark French's got a great office. Look at Trevor's office, man.
Well, come to A&M and then you leave and become very successful. You have a nice office.
I got a little room to spread around here. Shoot some hoops on the back of the door.
There we go. Opie, you want to start us off?
Okay. Well, you know, first, there's so many things. I really enjoyed watching Trevor play, especially against Tennessee in that game. But, hey, is there anything, speaking of Tennessee and quarterbacks, is there anything that you see in Marcel Reed,
I saw that, yeah,
that reminds you of you?
There is. You know, I'd love to say it's the poise, and I'd love to say it's a little bit of the polish, although I won't go that direction. I think what he is able to do in the run game provides that extra spark. Now, I increasingly get more excited about Marcel as the offseason goes on, and then you see his performance in the spring game. He is able to make all the throws. I truly believe that he's been working, you know, with the new receiving core and getting in the meeting room and all the different rules they have now in the offseason. He's been sharpening his craft, and I expect him to come out and be very polished in the throwing game, but still the ability to pull the ball down, run, extend plays, and the design, you know, QB run that we've seen from Colin Klein and staff in the past too. So I probably ran the ball a little bit too much in college. I don't want him to run all that much, but he does provide that wrinkle, which I'm really excited about.
Just ran the ball one too many times. That's what it was against Mississippi State.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only time. The rest of the time, I remember Arkansas just for the half.
Yeah.
Tennessee late. No, let the quarterback run.
Trevor, what kind of fan are you when it comes to A&M? Are you the kind that pokes holes in why they might have a 8-4 type of year, or are you the one that says, you know what, I see reasons for 9-3, 10-2?
You know, I think I'm just like everybody else. I get really excited this time of year. Obviously, I'm wearing my colors today. I start puffing my chest out because we start getting excited about the young men that we have that are going to lead the charge, right? I think I can fall victim to getting upset on Saturdays if things aren't going our way, and that just comes from the passion, right? I think we've got tools, and we've had tools to be successful and kind of get over that hump, get a 10-win season under our belt, make a run at the playoff, and we're so close, you know, we can almost taste it, like the song says, right? So I do get critical on Saturdays, but that just comes from a guy that played the game and you know, wants to see perfection and excellence out of our guys, because I know they have the ability to do so. But generally, I'm pretty cool, calm, and collected, and I look at it from a fan lens of love these guys, love the work that they put in, believe in them, and just want them to be successful.
What does it take to be a successful quarterback in the SEC?
And that's continuously a moving target, you know, and I think it's probably different now than it was when I was playing, and then 10 years prior to that. And by the way, 10 years next year
right.
It will be since I put on the maroon and white, which is just crazy to think about. But you know, I think it continuously moves. Guys are getting better. Guys are sharpening their craft with off-season programs and all the, you know, technology that goes into it. It's gotten pretty analytical, right? But it still goes back to the basics for me. Are you going to be a guy that is infectious in the locker room, that gets the guys playing their absolute best ball for you? That's the type of leader you need at quarterback. Yes, you've got to make plays. When your name is called, you got to make the 15-yard out route throw on the sideline to get a third down to continue the drive. Yes, you got to make those plays. You got to be a baller. But at the end of the day in and day out, week in and week out, you've got to manage the emotions of that football team and get those guys believing that they're potentially even better than they are. Now, like I mentioned, we have a ton of talent, and we've got it across the board, I believe, this year, but it's the belief in the locker room that's going to get you over the hump late in November and on the back half of the season.
Trevor, where are you on the state of college athletics, college football, the House settlement, the changes, the payment, the NIL, the transfer, just kind of where we are today and where it seems to be going?
I could spend a lot of time on that because I would get granular. In large part, I think there's some good, there's some bad, and there's some ugly. Okay. At the end of the day, it goes back to the saying, control what you can control. These guys in this locker room have the opportunity to make some money. That's great. Can it be life-changing for them and their families? Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of that, right? They bring a lot of excitement to us, and they deserve some of that. But at the end of the day, all of those guys, deep down in their core, they want to run out on Kyle Field, and they want to win football games. So control what you can control. Get out there, get the guys rallied around you, and produce on Saturdays. What that looks like Monday through Friday, I don't care, and I don't know, right? If you want to go do a signing and what have you, just make sure that you're getting yourself prepared to step out on the field and put your best foot forward.
You know, Trevor, if the rules were now what they were, or if they were then what they are now, you know, how much would it have cost to get Trevor Knight? You know, $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million? You know, what was it going to cost to get Trevor Knight?
I would have come for a McDonald's cheeseburger, man. That's all I wanted. But looking back on it, you know, maybe a couple commas in there wouldn't have been a bad thing. But I genuinely believe this. The type of money that's being thrown around now it's a blessing. It's great for these guys, but it can cause some clouds to go over, you know, the top of their heads where they may lose sight for a period of time. And that's the part that's frustrating to me is, you know, 18 to 22 years old. I know we all felt like we had it all figured out in that season of life, but there's a lot to manage as it is, trying to become a man, trying to stay on top of your schoolwork, trying to learn how to cook, you know, on the stovetop, all the different things that you manage already, and then throw this into it. I think it poses a threat to focus, and that's the only part that I don't like about it.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, you know, you played within the last 10 years, as you pointed out. So you're gonna get a check if you you know, you're going to share in that $1 billion or whatever they're going to pay to the. So you thought about that? What are you going to do with that?
I've got my estimated payout, and unfortunately, I may cover a couple Chipotle bowls a year with what I'm getting. But it's cool. You know, I think, you know, you're not going to be able to go back to everybody, and I slid in there right at the end, so I got a semester worth of, you know, credit on that whole deal, and I'm not going to turn it away, but certainly not the opportunity that some of these guys playing today have, right?
Trev, what about John Mateer in Oklahoma this year? They're one of these teams that everybody keeps talking about, like they could be the surprise of the SEC. Do you see that being the case? And what do you think about the quarterback position?
You know, I think you could fall on both sides of the fence. You know, as a fan, I look and I'm like, man, we got some pieces of the puzzle, and it could be exciting, right? But at the end of the day, you also got to look at the history of, you know, first-time quarterback in not necessarily a new system, but at a new school and back against the wall and kind of all the different outside factors. And it doesn't lead to high probability of crazy success. So am I saying that they're not going to have a good year? No, I'm not saying that. It could be a fantastic year. I just think there's a lot to overcome. I think John is great. He's a proven guy. It reminds me, you know, in a lot of ways of Dylan Gabriel when he came to Oklahoma, a guy that's played ball, that's going to step in, that knows the system and could be a really, really kind of solid figure for that offense. So I'd say I'm kind of on the fence there. It could be a spectacular year. It could be, you know, a year that's maybe a little bit disappointing. It all goes back to what I said here just a few minutes ago is how are those guys going to rally in the locker room? That's what it takes. You know, I mean, some of the teams that I was a part of at Oklahoma, you know, going to the college football playoff, it was guys like Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine and Baker Mayfield. Yeah, they're phenomenal talent, but they got everybody to elevate their game inside that locker room. It was player-led. And then my year at A&M, I mean, we had professionals like Christian Kirk and Armani Watts and Myles Garrett. I mean, we just had some dudes that did it the right way. And winning's hard. It's a fine line, but you got to have the right people in the locker room to get it done.
Got to ask, what game stands out to you from your year at A&M?
Man, there's quite a few. I'll name a couple if that's okay with you. Obviously, UCLA, the opener. That was a cool moment, not only for that year, overtime win, all that fun stuff, season opener, and UCLA was, I think, 16 in the country at that point. But for me personally, grass isn't always greener when you transfer, right? And for me to kind of go through everything I did through that off season, and I got demoted at Oklahoma. That's an emotional roller coaster. Pack all my things up in the snow up in Norman, drive it to College Station, get moved in, try to earn the respect of all the guys. And then that was kind of a crescendo moment where on Kyle Field, senior year, got the win there.
Game-winning touchdown.
Pretty cool. I will say one of my favorite games that year, though, was our first road game, SEC road game, at Auburn. I thought it was a fantastic venue. We played pretty well. It's kind of the Travion Williams coming out party. So we had a lot of fun post game and then on the way home. So that one stands out also.
Trevor, I appreciate it, man. We'll do it during the season, all right?
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Gig 'em.
Trevor Knight. They're on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. Short segment on the other side. Right now, if you're looking for a reason to move back to Aggieland, or you already live here in Aggieland, you need a new job, reach out to the Association of Former Students. They have a bunch of openings from time to time in different departments, fundraising, marketing, sales, communications, you name it. And they are the nation's premier alumni association and the oldest organization supporting Texas A&M in part of that Aggie story, because they play a part in it. And howdy to hear, right? They do it all. Join a team that exemplifies the Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. Join a team that exemplifies all those areas. If you are interested or know somebody who would be a great fit, what you need to do is reach out to them at tx.ag/associationjobs to apply and get more information on each position. It is the Association of Former Students.
Always like.
All right, guys, let's talk about some new partners. Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They're Aggie owned and operated. They are an mobile IV hydration company that was founded back in 2024. I met with Sheldon and Danny over the last week, and they're awesome people. They really know what they're doing. They're proud to serve Bryan College Station with awesome services like IV hydration, Botox, and even some weight loss options. Whether you're looking for a quick boost of hydration or dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. And on a busy weekend, I know some of you guys might be partying a little bit too much. If that's the case, an IV can be one of the easiest ways to ensure you're receiving all those necessary vitamins and minerals that make you feel better. Their overall mission is to bring a more personalized and accessible wellness option to the broader range of clientele here in the Bryan College Station and Brazos Valley area. To book an appointment or inquire about it, just call them up or text them, 979-217-1561. Again, it's Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Check them out. It's our friends at Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Final segment of the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Reese Nygren, what do you have, sir?
The A&M women's golf team announced their 2025 schedule. The Maroon and White will begin their season at the Carmel Cup and Pebble Beach Golf Links in Monterey, California.
Hard life.
Wish I could play golf.
On August 29th to the 31st, their schedule also includes tournaments in Michigan, New Mexico, and Florida, as well as 4 tournaments in the state of Texas. Moving over to the volleyball side of things, Texas A&M Volleyball's Logan Lidnicki and Afena Kaz Okpala were named to the 2025 American Volleyball Coaches Association Player of the Year watch list on Tuesday. The senior standouts continue to garner national recognition, becoming the first Aggies to be named to the Player of the Year watch list in program history.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go out and watch some of those, just as a fan, watch some of those volleyball games. Because I was watching their in the playoffs last year. I kind of got into it.
Yeah, they were fun to watch. We're going to have Jamie Morrison at our preseason kickoff. He'll be part of the roundtable discussion.
Amazing job he's done.
He's done great.
What, 2 years?
Yeah.
This will be his 3rd year.
Yeah. What else?
Texas A&M women's basketball team earned 2024-25 WBCA Academic Honor Roll Special Mention distinction. The Aggies turned in a 3.422 GPA for the 24-25 academic year. The WBCA Academic Top 25 recognizes college women's basketball teams across the nation in their respective divisions that carry the highest combined GPAs, inclusive of all student athletes on their rosters.
Well done.
Good stuff, buddy. I like smart Aggies.
I do too. Well, that kind of goes without saying.
Some of us
smart Aggies is kind of
got
redundant.
through accidentally.
I didn't go to school.
You didn't have to, OB.
I got where I got anyway.
You didn't have to. As a reminder, the final segment of the program brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. Thank you, Buchanan.
Yep, sure, Nuño.
Talk to you. We'll be All right, we're talking about Burlebo, the heart of Texas, more than an outdoor lifestyle brand. It's products created with you in mind. Currently, I'm wearing the performance polo, the Texas maroon and gray. If you look into it, you've got the state of Texas in gray, and you also got it in maroon. It's one of their highest, most popular sales that they have there. It is really nice. Comfort and versatility. You can wear it in any situation. Quick drying, fits the size. But Burlebo, they're rooted in tradition, fueled by passion for the outdoors. Designs high-quality apparel that works just as hard as you do. So whether you're hitting a workout, enjoying a day of fishing, or cheering on your favorite college team, their gear is made for the athlete, the outdoorsman, and the everyday adventure. And it's really nice. I wore this one to church the other day. People talked about it. Really, my kids were like, "Hey, Dad, you look pretty good today." From athletic shorts to your favorite go-to tees and performance hoodies, they have everything you want. Check out burlebo.com and find your new favorite gear. It's Burlebo for the athlete, for the outdoors, and for the family. An intimate conversation with our audience today. 9 o'clock hour. Just me and you. 979-693-1150 is the phone number. You can call us up on the Buppy's Catering hotline. You can also text that number as well if you have any commentary. We're going to play a what-if game. So we go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Reese, you have the article from Bill Connolly on what if, correct?
Yes, he gave 3 ifs for contenders in the college football world. A&M did make the list. Their 3 what ifs are if the passing game finds a bit more pop.
Okay, which I think a comment in there because I wrote down some of the notes. Marcel Reed posting the best freshman QBR in the SEC.
Yep, better than Sellers and Lagway.
We'll take that all day, every day. Loss, top 5 pass targets from 2024, but guess what? They've added to that. Who have they added?
They added KC Concepcion and Mario Craver.
Plus, you got a blue chipper in Terry Bussey.
Yeah.
And Ashton Bethel-Roman's a guy that we've heard Coach Elko mention on several different occasions. So that's one of the questions.
The second one is if a new pass rush is better than the old one. He mentions that A&M was 85th in sack rate in 2024 and finished 19th in defensive SP+. SP+ is a tempo and opponent adjusted measure. The team's SP+ rating indicates how many points they are projected to be better or worse than the average college football team.
So a couple things on that. First off, so much talk about what A&M lost on the defensive line, but let's not forget who they've added. Dayon Hayes from Colorado, TJ Searcy from Florida, right? We already know that Cassius Howell is poised to hopefully break out this year. He started to break out last year. Yeah. So it's in Rylan Kennedy, Solomon Williams. So there's some names for Aggies just to remember. And then the secondary has added pieces as well. If there's an ability to add pressure to the quarterback, that secondary magically gets better without new personnel. And oh, by the way, they did bring in new personnel.
And that leads into the third if. If the big play breakdowns are smaller. A&M ranked 4th nationally in completion rate allowed at 53.3%.
That's not good.
That is not good. And 19th in interception rate at 3.7%. He mentions Des Ricks and Will Lee, as well as Dalton Brooks and Marcus Ratcliffe in the article. He also split up the 2024 pass defenses into quadrants based on yards allowed per successful dropback, along with the completion percentage giving up. A&M was in the, quote, all or nothing category.
So you either completed a great play or nada.
Yeah. And
the nada was probably on the Will Lee side of things.
Yes. The blanket covering one side of the field.
Any other points on Texas A&M there?
That was
it?
That was he mentions that he only had 3 teams with plus 3,000 or higher national title odds. A&M's are plus 4,000 in the 3 ifs category. 2 of those were 2022 Notre Dame and 2023 Tennessee, but one of them was 2019 LSU.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So now I want to play another game, okay?
All right.
We're going to play the what-if game that Bill Connolly has there with certain A&M opponents and certain SEC teams. And I'm going to try, if I can, to counter some of this, okay? So when it comes to Notre Dame, week 3 on the schedule, do you have the 3 questions that they have?
I do. The first one is, if CJ Carr is ready.
Okay. Look, he is a 5-star. There's a lot of hype about him, and we're going to talk probably a little bit more about him later on in the show. But he's going to open up his schedule with potentially the 2 hardest games, or his career, on his schedule in the first 3 weeks of the year, the first 2 games of the year in Miami and Texas A&M. So there will be no easing in period, right? So yeah, he's never taken a meaningful snap in a game. His first meaningful snap will come against the University of Miami. His second game will come against Texas A&M and hopefully a very good defense. Okay, so to me, that is part of it. Also, I know there's a lot of hype around his receivers, but if they don't improve, they were 66 in yards per drop back in 24. I think that part of that is because Riley Leonard wasn't a great passer, right? So, and CJ Carr apparently can make all the throws, but Jaden Greathouse was really their only option, and he emerged more at the end of the season. So they lose 4 of their 6 targets. Consider A&M like one of the counters was that A&M lost some targets. Well, Notre Dame loses some targets, although I think Jaden Greathouse is great. All right. And look, those are a lot of unknowns when it comes to that team. I think the other if the receiving core is better than the old one. I kind of already answered that one. Go. And there's a new defensive coordinator there, right?
Yes, there is.
So I think it's Chris Ash. And if he didn't work out at Rutgers, what makes you think he's going to do well there? Al Golden was awesome. Where did Al Golden end up?
He's now with the Cincinnati Bengals trying to manage a defense that looks like it will be without
Shamar Stewart
and Trey Hendrickson.
Right. So, look, we'll see what happens with the Notre Dame defense. But I think we all know that Al Golden was awesome.
He was good.
So is there going to be a transition period there on defense? Again, this is a what-if game. So that's some of the what-ifs when it comes to Texas A&M and their opponent, Notre Dame. Who would be the next ranked opponent on that? Let's just go with LSU. I just want to go.
Florida actually made this what-ifs list.
Okay.
So Florida is in a 4-ifs category.
Okay.
Their first one is if Lagway is what we think he is.
Okay. Which means the opposite of that would be if he's not. I think he is. This is a hard one for me. Yeah. But what I'll say to that is if he gets injured. And now you can say that about any quarterback, but he did get injured.
Yeah.
Right? He was not throwing in the spring. He says he's fine. I hope he is. Mm-hmm. Except if he catches a cold against A&M, that'd be fine too. But the counter to that is Arch has got this amazing hype around him. DJ Lagway's got some really good hype around him. Deserved. And he can make all the throws and he's a big kid. But again, if he's not healthy, does Florida's season go down the drain? What are the other what-ifs?
The second one is if he has receivers, mentions that Florida's 2 main pass catchers from last year are gone.
Well, there you go.
They only have 2 proven returners in Eugene Wilson III.
He's good. Eugene Wilson's really good.
He is good. And Aiden Mizell.
Yeah. I think they answered the counter already. You lose a bunch of guys. Eugene Wilson will be a nice player for them. And
the third one is if last season's sophomore defenders become steely-eyed veterans.
Say that again. If year's defenders.
If sophomore defenders become steely-eyed veterans.
How did their defense do last year?
Of the 12 returning who had 200-plus snaps, 8 are now sophomores. They jumped from 60th to 23rd in defensive SP plus last year.
Okay. I think that's a hard one to counter. I think if you're going to take a logical next step, that if you can apply that to A&M, you can apply it to their opponents as well.
And
go ahead.
The last one is if the Gators have the depth to survive this ridiculous schedule.
Well, isn't that the question for everybody? They have one of the hardest schedules in the country. And if you lose anybody in a key spot, can you withstand that? I think they answered that question themselves. Let's do LSU.
LSU is also in the 4 ifs category. The first one is if new star receivers emerge as usual.
So let's see. They lost 3 of their top 4 receivers, right, from last year. And Nussmeier can throw. He threw for 4,000 plus yards last year. But those ingredients, they're banking on really talented transfers to give you exactly or better than what you got last year. And I just don't think lightning strikes in a bottle all the time, right? Now, I do believe in the receivers. I personally do believe in them.
That's fair.
Varian Brown's going to be a really nice player for them, and Anderson as well. I think they're going to be really good at wide receiver, excellent. But there's no guarantee that they're as good as what we've seen the last few years at LSU.
The second one is if the rebuilt line holds up.
They're starting all or mostly sophomores and redshirt freshmen on an O-line that lost 4 starters, all for the NFL. That's a recipe for disaster. I just don't see that. That's, the counter to the what if is that's a big if. And when we throw it out at Texas and other schools, and when A&M went through it in 21 and 22, those are big question marks that have to be answered. And I can't guarantee that'll be the case. And if that's not the case, what does that do for Nussmeier, who, when under pressure, becomes a completely different quarterback?
The third one is if transfers upgrade their secondary. 3 of last season's starting defensive backs are gone, but LSU ranked only 76th in yards allowed per dropback, so upgrades were needed. regardless.
Now, these were major overhauls, right? So they're banking on 3 transfers to completely fix a broken unit is a gamble.
Yes.
Now, they felt good about their transfers, but that is a gamble. I would say the chemistry between the defensive backs is not on the same level as a offensive line, but it ain't far.
No.
It ain't far.
The last one is, if the risks are better rewarded, second-year coordinator Blake Baker is willing to risk getting burnt to force mistakes, and mentions Harold Perkins Jr. and Whit Weeks.
LSU hasn't had a top 20 defense since 2019. And last year they got burned a lot. So, and they didn't force enough mistakes last year. So, to me, the burden of proof is enormous for a defense that hasn't been that has been actually consistently mediocre. That's what they've been.
Yeah.
So that's a lot to overcome. All right, Texas. Give me Texas.
So their first if, I feel like everybody can guess it. If Arch is what he thinks he is. If Arch is what we think he is.
All right. What if he's not?
That's
right. The same kind of argument that we had for, who was it earlier that we talked about?
Lagway.
For Lagway. Now, Lagway, there's a more proof.
Yeah, you have more larger sample size. The second one is if young.
Well, let me finish that thought, though. He has started 2 games. He might be the second coming of Trevor Lawrence. Who knows, right? But his 2 starts came against ULM and Mississippi State, and if you combine their records, 7-17. Being a Heisman favorite with less than 1,000 yards passing when your 2 starts came against teams that won 7 games combined, to me is just an outrageous stretch.
But he started an SEC game. Second one, if young receivers give Arch what he needs.
Only 2 of their 9 main targets returned. That's DeAndre Moore Jr. And Ryan Wingo, who did struggle at the end of the year.
Yes.
So, he had 10 catches in the last 6-7 games, something like that. It was not a lot.
It was not.
So, I think he's going to be good. I do think Wingo's going to be good, but there is a question mark there for sure.
And then the last one is if the rebuilt line holds up.
I can almost copy and paste the conversation that we had with LSU here, right? You're replacing Kelvin Banks. You lost. That's just a hard. Does it go into the defensive line as well?
Yes, it does.
Because the defense lost 5 of its 6 top players in snaps, with 5 defensive tackle transfer ins. So, that is a concerning turnover, no doubt about it. So those are some of A&M's opponents. Give me what Connolly says about Georgia.
For Georgia, he has 3 ifs for them. The first one, quarterback again, if Gunnar Stockton is as good as Kirby Smart says.
I tend to believe what Kirby Smart says because he's proven that over time. But his only meaningful action, he'd struggled a little bit. 6 sacks during the game against Notre Dame, and one of those was a game-changing strip sack. So there's that. If I'm going to be critical of first-year starters that come with the hype, I got to be critical of first-year starters that don't come with the hype, right? It's got to be both ways. And again, this is playing the if not, right? If Gunnar Stockton is what they say, what Kirby says he is, then absolutely. But the if not, how does Georgia overcome it? What are the other ones?
The second one, if a veteran receiving core improves in Georgia's last 2 losses of 2024 against Ole Miss and Notre Dame, they scored a total of 20 points, and Beck and Stockton averaged just 10.5 yards per completion while taking 9 sacks.
Zachariah Branch has, 823 yards in 2 seasons, okay? And so I know he comes with a lot of hype, and his name a couple years ago came with a lot of hype. Noah Thomas, it depends which Noah you get. Noah to me was good. He was really good.
Yeah, he was.
And he would make this receiving core, I think, great.
Great.
Right? But he was not a consistent threat. Our guest yesterday, Austin Brooks, was typically guys of his size aren't a consistent threat, right? But there was games that I felt like he didn't show up. And then there were games I'm like, oh my, this guy is great. So will it be more of the same his senior year? Or maybe, again, he's going to an offense that hasn't been known to throw the ball very well anyway. I think that is a a for sure question there. What was the last one?
The last one, if both rebuilt fronts hold up.
They lost 8 of 11 front 7 players with plus 200 snaps, with over 200 snaps. So let that marinate for a moment. They lost 2 All-American guards on offense. Again, that is a complete reconstruction of a unit that wasn't even that dominant last year. So I would say the if not is exactly that. Like you're banking on a lot, to use a lack of a better term, and there isn't. You're going to have to go a long way, and it's not even as good as it was. Let's do Alabama as the last one.
Alabama is one of only 2 teams with 2 ifs. The other one is Penn State. Their first if is if Ty Simpson or anyone can do what Ryan Grubb needs.
3/4 of Ty Simpson's career have come as garbage time, right? So he has not played meaningful football as well. And the only non-garbage action resulted in 5 sacks against South Florida a couple years ago. That is a potentially problematic issue against real competition. Potential. I like Ryan Grubb a lot. I do. And I think Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb together offensively are going to figure it out. And I think Ty Simpson, I have them going to the SEC championship game and winning. I might be completely wrong there.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we have these takes that they hit you in the gut somehow. Like, yeah, I'm going to go. And then you're like a month, what was I thinking? But I think Ty Simpson's going to be good enough for them to really compete in the SEC, like really, really compete.
Their second if is if the pass rush picks up. The defense last year allowed just 15.5 points per game and allowed just 4.7 yards per play for the season, which ranked 9th in the nation.
They ranked 70th in sack rate, right? Even with a great secondary. They lost their only 2 players with 2.5 sacks, and Latham and Rusall. Those 2 combined for 2 sacks. So without pressure, are those cornerbacks going to get exposed against elite offenses? I tend to think not. I think that defense is going to be freaking fantastic. But if I were to counter a what if, that would be my counter. Good stuff, Tiger. You look like you had a thought you were about to give me.
Nope.
Okay. Don't give me anything. I don't want anything. All right. We'll hit a break. Again, I told you I wanted to talk a little bit more about CJ Carr. We'll do that here in a little bit. Right now, duck camp time. Whether you're chasing birds at sunrise, casting the line at the lines at the bow, or sweating it out during scorchers at Kyle Field, Duck Camp has the gear to keep you comfortable and cool. You got to check out their awesome gear. Go to duckcamp.com. You're going to love it. The hoodies. Their hoodies, again, you can wear during the heat. You can wear during the cold. You can wear it to go to bed. You can wear it any time. Breathable, quick drying, made to battle any kind of heat that you're in. And it's just stylish, and people will comment on it. You got the essential hoodie. You've got the lightweight hoodie. You've got the scout shorts. You got the lightweight fishing shirts. You wear fishing shirts, Reese?
I do.
Yeah. You have some heavy ones? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. You stay on the lightweight community. Yeah. You go to those meetings? No. You don't go to any meetings. You don't even know what I'm talking about.
No.
Whether you're gearing up for the hunt or a fishing trip or just trying to survive September in College Station, Duck Camp has you covered. Check it out at duckcamp.com. That is duckcamp.com, built for the outdoors, designed for everything else. Hey everyone, David Nuño and Olin Buchanan and OB. Typically we start off the show in this section and we call it the Holistic Planning Cool
The cool zone, yeah. It's pretty cool.
What do we know about holistic planning?
Well, a lot of cool stuff. For instance, holistic planning can help you with your investments.
I love that.
They can help you with your taxes. So
I don't like paying taxes.
You can get that money from your investments and they keep it, they'll help you keep it away from the government.
Yep.
Not all of it, but more of it. And then they'll even help you with your estate planning. When you're old like me, you got to make sure some of that money you made is there for when you want to retire and just enjoy the rest of your life.
You want your estate to be planned. But they also do something else.
Yeah, well, if you are, like, say, a sports fan, and you've always wanted to...
Everybody watching us, right?
Yeah. And you want to always dream of being an owner, well, in a certain way you can, because they will broker the deal for you to invest in pro sports.
Yeah, what you need to do is check out investinprosports.com. That's where you can get all the information if you want to invest in a team. I don't know what team. He'd probably try to buy the Cowboys. I try to buy a lot of the Houston teams. Whatever it may be, investinprosports.com. It is holistic planning, and we love hanging out at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. All right, I want some you guys to text in some what ifs that we're not considering, that Bill Connolly wasn't considering when it comes to A&M. What if this, then that for A&M? Hopefully on the positive. Doesn't have to be on the negative, guys, but it can be whatever you want it to be. 979-693-1150. That is the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. John Rothstein, you see him on CBS. He was a big fan of Buzz, by the way. I think he still is.
Palpable buzz.
What's that?
I said there's a palpable buzz between him and Buzz.
Yeah, there is that. He shared on Inside College Basketball that he sees the Texas A&M basketball team as what?
Sleepers.
Did you know that, or did you guess that?
I'm going to guess that.
Did you look at the rundown?
I did.
Okay, don't lie.
I'll have to admit I did look at the
All
rundown.
right, so, by the way, we're going to have Bucky preseason kickoff this weekend. Guess who's interviewing Bucky?
You.
I am. So, and
Not
we're going to
Luke?
ask him a lot of questions. What's that?
Not Luke?
Luke's going to intro me,
Okay.
and I'll interview Bucky.
There we go.
Yeah. And so, by the way, don't forget to register for the preseason kickoff, available to all premium and varsity subscribers. The registration link is in Billy's premium forum. The event is this Saturday. We're going to hear from a bunch of the head coaches at the MSC. Texas A&M Athletics is going to be spotlighted. We'll have a bunch of athletes in attendance. If you'd like to sponsor a table at the event or donate an auction item, please email sponsors@texags.com. Come kick off the 2025 season with us. All right, so here's what, and I guarantee you Luke right now is just like, is Luke even here?
I have no idea if he's back there.
Luke, tell Luke to come join me for this, because I think he can speak a little bit to it if he wants to put on a microphone.
He's got the
real
biggest
quick.
smile on his
This
face.
might be a little bit of a surprise. I'm going with Bucky McMillan and Texas A&M right now. This is somebody who came in from the Birmingham area. Yeah, you can join me. You got a mic on? Oh,
yeah,
you're going to do it that way.
I've been called off the bench.
So I thought, because yesterday we were talking in our content meeting about A&M basketball and why you think they could be a team that people like, they could potentially be a tournament team. John Rothstein apparently agrees with you.
Yeah.
He says this might be a little bit of a surprise. I'm going with Bucky McMillan and Texas A&M. Now, for a lot of people who aren't familiar with Bucky, this is somebody who came in from the Birmingham area, but he was the high school coach for Trendon Watford, who went to high school in the Birmingham area, then went to LSU for Will Wade. Then he became the Sanford coach, led Sanford to the NCAA tournament. Sanford almost beat Kansas in 2024. Now he's Texas A&M's head coach. He goes on to say he's really got a nice first-year roster. Pop Isaacs, Rylan Griffin, Mackenzie Mbako, Federico. Should be a really good shooting team. Should be a team, in my opinion, that has a chance to compete for the NCAA tournament berth in his first year. Now, we say that on TexAgs, and then people who don't love A&M are like, of course they're going to say that. But John Rothstein is one of the most respected basketball analysts in the country.
Yeah, 100%. And you're starting to see a lot more national love for Texas A&M. I forget the reporter's name, but he works for Hoops HQ, which is like Seth Davis and all of them.
Yep.
He had Texas A&M as the #1 transfer class in the SEC, which when you're having to build your entire roster from the transfer portal and 12 players are transfers, you better have a pretty good class if you want to compete against teams that already have existing 5 stars coming in from high school, existing starters from last year that made deep runs in the tournament. So all signs point towards a lot of more national love coming towards Bucky McMillan and Texas A&M's way. But, you know, as we know, just being talked about in the offseason isn't really what matters. It's winning games. But I believe that there are pieces there for this team to go to the tournament, and there's a lot of winnable games in that non-conference schedule to really build momentum into SEC play.
So last year, 14 SEC teams got into the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
Typically, what are we seeing? 9 to 11?
Yeah, 9 to 11 is...
Or 11, I think, would even be high, right?
I'm pretty sure like they set the record at 12 the year before, or like the record was 12 from, I think, the Big East also did
So
that.
if you're 9 or 10, you have a really good chance of being in the tournament.
John Rothstein said that he expects
he has A&M at number 10.
double-digit SEC teams to make the tournament again, and with A&M at 10, he is projecting A&M to make the tournament. And like that's just SEC rankings. He has his national Rothstein 45 and A&M's at 36, which projects to be a 9 seed.
So 45, is it the 45 best teams in the country? Is that how he does it?
That's like his preseason, I guess, power rankings.
Now,
And
we understand that this is an impossible task, right? It is impossible to predict what a team's going to be based on guys who have never played together, based on stats. It's somewhere else with a different system, different philosophy, different culture. It is impossible. But if you are going to base it on talent acquisition and the potential, there is no reason to believe that they can't be. And by the way, I think he's sitting on house money because if they aren't, he does get the grace of building a program.
100%. I mean, I like what Nick says. Should the expectation change from day one to what are we, like 4 months in? Like, he came in with one player on the roster, down $1 million in NIL from not having the Players Era tournament, and 2 weeks late to the portal with 81 of the top 100 players already committed. So when you look at that, the expectation was, all right, let's just not be the worst team in the SEC in year one, and maybe by year 3 or 4, this thing's rolling. Now, let's say with all this talent they've collected, they don't make the tournament. I don't think that season then becomes a failure because it's year one. Just getting talent that's just half the battle, is getting the talent. You have to create a system and a culture, and his philosophy that they play is a very unique style that maybe a guy like Rylan Griffin played in, but it was 2 years ago. Or a guy like Mackenzie Mbako has never played in. And so you're trying to mesh all these pieces together. So if it's a slow start or if this team doesn't win enough games to get into the tournament, I don't think our expectations should change drastically because of who's on the roster. When that's just half the battle, it's got to be how well do they play together.
You said something there that I think it's something we should touch on, is the fact that, like, your opinion of a season is allowed to change with more data points.
Yeah.
Right? Like, last year, when A&M was 7-1 in football, it was okay to expect for them to make the SEC championship game based on the information you had. When they lost Le'Veon, it changed the trajectory of the season. Regardless if you think it should or shouldn't, it did. Data points are allowed to change with information, right? You can change your opinions based. And right now, I'm super intrigued by the talent that he's brought in. I don't know how those ingredients are going to mix.
Yeah.
And by the way, just because they don't mesh well early, let's say they struggle in the non-conference, does not mean that 3 months into it, they haven't figured it out and are playing much better basketball in February.
Yeah, that's actually probably what I think you're likely to see is this team is just going to get better the more reps that they get. So starting off non-conference play with a no-name bye game as your opener, and then you go at Oklahoma State and then host UCF. Those are two Big 12 teams where, you know, I'm not going to say those are two tournament teams, but those are probably two of your toughest non-conference games, and they're in your first 3 games. And so if this team does stumble out the gate, I don't think that's any indication of how the season is going to go, because I think this team will only get better as they go on, because right now you're practicing against walk-ons and they can do 5-on-5, but that's about it. This team doesn't really get to play like 1s versus 2s. There's just not enough bodies out there yet to make that happen. And so once they face those live reps, there's going to be setbacks early on, I'm sure, because, again, it's about the system that they play in that is most important. You could argue system is more important than talent, because guys like Mackenzie Mbako are super talented, but the system that they were playing in last year wasn't right for their skills. Rylan Griffin is another example of that. So the system is just as important. So once they get that down in the middle of SEC play, I think you're going to see this team probably start peaking at the right time. But that's not to say they won't take their lumps early on in non-conference play and then early on again in SEC play.
Luke, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Milliken Reserve time. The neighborhoods at Milliken Reserve are nothing like those typical subdivisions. They're so awesome. They're based entirely on that Brazos Valley landscape and heritage, closely linked to the land with deep Texas roots. Beautiful place to go live and hang out. No other place like Milliken Reserve. 3 awesome neighborhoods. You got the Creek, the Hollow, the Meadows. Speaking of the Creek, these homes are on 10-plus acre wooded estates through a thoughtful expression of their owner's vision. Each tells a unique story. Not many of these are available. The Hollow, these homes are in a private and gated community that are directly attributed to the nature that they're designed in. This is an authentic complement to the otherwise untouched section of the Brazos Valley landscape. And you got the Meadows, homes are responsive to their natural surroundings, following the lead of early local Texas agriculture. It's an awesome place to go. You can learn more about the neighborhoods at millikenreserve.com. And don't forget, you can go hiking, biking, canoeing, kayaking, equestrian trails there. They've got the evening yoga, the summer camps, the music festivals, farmer markets, and farm tours. You can learn more at millikenreserve.com. That is millikenreserve.com. Time for Around the SEC, presented by the Jackster Group. We go behind the glass. Nick Savage making an appearance. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Good morning, David.
How are you?
I'm great. So I wanted to get in on the Big Ten SEC debate just because when I was seeing all of that, come out yesterday on Twitter, just like what the Big Ten obsession with the SEC's scheduling was crazy to me. So to me, you can't argue it. But again, they're coaches. They're doing what they're supposed to do, making the pitch for their team. But I wanted to put kind of like I feel like I was thinking like Matthew Dawson for a minute. I wanted to put value. No. Well, it's not possible for me, but you get what I mean. Like I wanted numbers. I wanted something to measure this by. So the ESPN FPI is pretty much like the only metric out in terms of like rankings and strength of schedule, stuff like that for this upcoming season. So the
FPI is kind of like the bulk in baseball. Nobody can really explain it correctly.
Sure. Yeah, it's like the net ranking. You know what I mean? Same deal. But so I went through the first 3 weeks of the SEC and the Big Ten schedules for non-conference games. I only picked the Power 4 opponents that each school was playing. And, of course, there's a little bit of bleed over. Texas going to Ohio State, Wisconsin going to Alabama, Michigan going to Norman to play OU. But through those first 3 weeks, the SEC will play 11 games against Power 4 opponents, right? The SEC average opponent rank in the FPI is 27.3. Big Ten non-conference marquee games through the first 3 weeks, they play 10 of those against Power 4 opponents. Their average opponent rank, 37.5 in the FPI, so about a 10-spot drop in the FPI rankings there. So, I mean, that just tells you right off the jump, SEC is playing tougher non-conference games to begin with, along with their tougher conference schedules they have to play.
And how many games were Big Ten? Because you said it was 11 for the SEC.
10. They'll play 10 Power 4 opponents in non-conference through the first 3 weeks of the schedule.
So basically what you're saying is the numbers prove that this is a ridiculous conversation.
Correct. And again, even with the 8 conference schedule versus the 9 conference schedule, I mean, how deep is the SEC compared to the Big Ten?
How about just have class and not say anything?
Yeah.
Not you, Nick.
No,
shut up.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why do we have to, if somebody says something about you, I'm all in on responding how you see fit, right? But this is what I think should happen. Nick, you know my personality. If I were the head coach of an SEC team and I got an opportunity to take on any ACC team or a Big Ten team, what would I do?
Probably pick.
I'd run up the score.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
I see
what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, mothers, you guys, fathers, all friends. I'm going to continue. I was about to say something I shouldn't.
Yep.
Yeah. Mother and fathers. I'm going to continue running this ball down your darn throat.
So you expect Alabama to put it to Wisconsin or
they
Oklahoma
They killed Tyler Van Dyke. He's alive because they were able to, get some adamantium, whatever it's called, the Wolverine stuff. But what was the score in that Wisconsin-Alabama game when Tyler Van Dyke basically died? I feel like it was a destruction on epic proportions. Am I right about that?
It was
a blowout.
The final score was 42-10. So
what was it at the half?
At the half,
see if you can find that.
It was 21-3.
Okay. That to me would be the first quarter. Okay, it would be that if I had seriously, no, not all. Indiana's a good program. Let me rephrase that. Indiana had a really good year, and I think I'm one that says I thought they were they deserve to go to the playoffs, even though I don't. Maybe the A&M should just move to the Big Ten and we can call it a day and just win all the time. But I'm not really advocating for that. But Indiana deserved to go. But if I'm an SEC coach, if I'm Nick Saban, who's not an SEC coach obviously anymore, if I'm Kirby Smart, if I'm Lane Kiffin, I'm doing okay. Mike Elko's got class. He wouldn't do what I would do. I don't have class when I get mad. I have zero class when I get mad. Some people would say I have zero class all the time. But when I'm mad, no class. Okay, fine. You want to play that game? Stop me. Oh, it's 48-3? Okay, now it's going to be 56. And I'm just going to keep scoring and keep scoring and keep scoring. Just say 45 if it was 48, but you get my point.
Yeah, we get it.
Anyway, that's what, and I think it's going to be hard. Now, I don't want that to happen week 1. Let me go ahead and tell you that right now. Everybody agree with me here? Kind of want the Big Ten to do that to Texas. I want Ohio State to run it up. I'm just saying, like if I were to pick a scenario, that game, Big Ten, please be the best conference ever. After that game, just get destroyed. But I think Texas is going to win that game, by the way. They don't know their quarterback situation there, although most likely it'll be Julian Sand. I forget the backup's name, or not the backup, the guy who's competing with Julian Sand. It's like McIntosh or Mackin something. He's apparently a freak athlete. Plays baseball, golf, everything, right? Do you have his name? Like Lincoln McIntosh or something. I'm making the name up, but it's something like that.
It's Lincoln Kinholes and Taven St. Clair, yeah.
Say it again. Say these fake names that sound like they were made up on an AI generator.
Lincoln Kinholes and true freshman Taven St. Clair.
Those sound like the fakest names. Like when you
ChatGPT spit those two names
back when I used to play video games where they didn't have the rights to the players, they would throw these fake names at players. Like that's what that reminds me of. So no, run up the score on the Big Ten when you get the opportunity, and don't stop running up the score when you have the opportunity, except for one game in particular. Is there any other game I'd change my mind on?
I can run through a few of them if you'd like.
Sure.
I'll try to LSU at Clemson. You want Clemson to win that one?
I don't know who I want to win that one. Let me explain why.
I was about to say.
If A&M goes to Baton Rouge and beats LSU, I want them to be a top 5 team. I don't want them to not be a top 5 team.
That's a fair point.
Big if. There's a part, like, for that one, I kind of care about the theater of the moment. There's a part of me that would enjoy watching LSU lose another game to start the season. Right? There's a part of me that would enjoy that. But when I'm being A&M selfish, I'd love to go to Baton Rouge and beat a top 10 LSU team.
No.
I'm not picking us to do that right now because, I am the opposite of what I say I should be. I think about history too much, but I might change my mind.
Florida State and Bama?
If I'm Alabama.
Added today.
Okay, can you add what was said today?
So today at ACC Media Days, a reporter asked Thomas Castellanos.
He's the quarterback of Florida State.
The Florida State quarterback who has openly said that he is not afraid of Alabama, tripled down today saying, "We stand by what I said."
We.
The
people.
The team stands by what Thomas Castellanos said about Alabama. So if you were Kalen DeBoer after...
He seems like a classy guy.
But if you were Kalen DeBoer, you would...
I would win 56-3.
There we go.
Which, unfortunately, you can't just pick your score and it happens. But I would do everything in my power to humble Florida State. And the weird thing is, I like Mike Norvell.
Mm-hmm. Humble the team or the quarterback?
Humble the team. There should be consequences for your actions that go down generations. What else, Nicardo?
That's
it.
Tennessee, Syracuse, don't care really.
Don't care.
Arizona State, Mississippi State,
don't care.
Don't really care. Kansas, Missouri, don't care.
Don't care. Never.
Virginia Tech, Vanderbilt, don't care.
I guess I don't care about college football. I keep saying I don't care.
That's pretty much it.
I care in the moment.
Michigan, Oklahoma.
I don't know what I want in that one. I guess I want the SEC to win, but I don't really I don't feel like the Am I wrong? Oklahoma and Texas, they don't feel SEC yet.
No.
I know there's some that say that about A&M and Missouri, but we've been there long enough. And I know Texas has had more success than us in football. I get it. Okay. They haven't earned their time in the SEC. Until you play an SEC West schedule, you have not earned your time in the SEC. Sorry.
I would actually, I know, not popular take coming out here. I would disagree with the Texas part. They feel, if they come in and make it to the SEC championship game, they feel like it. Oklahoma definitely doesn't. They feel like an afterthought.
Agree. But there's always a but in it. But last year's team, SEC West schedule.
They'd still be pretty good. I don't know if they'd have the same level of success, but...
Okay. A Nick Saban-led Alabama team.
Yeah,
I know they beat them 2 years prior. I get it. Like, I know. I'm grasping here. But I just kind of feel like They got the SEC East schedule when the SEC was down, right? When the SEC East was down, and not the SEC West schedule. I think Texas was really good. They proved it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a part of me that I'm kidding. But, like, I mean, we're talking about Vandy being an awesome team that won 7 games. They won 7 games, guys. Right? Am I right about that? They won 7 games? All right, let's slow down here. They went 7-6. Let's talk about something incredible. Stories. I love stories. I love ranch stories. I haven't watched many of them, but I assume I'd love them if I watched them. Farm stories. Love those. Family stories, definitely love those. I love documentaries. I love Chance McClain. I love a lot of things right now, except particular programs. And Chance is a documentary maker, a storyteller, and he tells awesome stories about families that want to share their stories for generations to come. That's what he does the best. And if you have a family ranch, and you're like, yeah, I love my ranch, and that operation was built on like some real fine morals. You want to keep that integrity for forever. You should have a documentary done about the origin story of your ranch or your family business or your grandpa or your dad or your grandmother, whoever it may be. Let Chance and his team tell these stories. These are like HBO, Netflix, A&E. Who else makes documentaries?
The History Channel.
History Channel. Okay, like this. Like that's what. Call him Chance the History Channel McClain at Heritage Films. Call him up 713-893-8341. 713-893-8341 or visit yourheritagefilm.com. That's yourheritagefilm.com. Social media sucks. Like, people just lie. Stop lying to make your point. Look, I am convinced of this. There are people in my computer listening to what I say and what I think, and then populating it on my social media to get it. Like, we just spent a whole segment, Big Ten, and then, of course, I opened up Twitter during the break. And there's a Twitter account called Exposing SEC Bias. Have you seen this? Yeah. It talks about the SEC gauntlet, right? Yep. And all the teams that SEC teams are playing.
I've seen that.
And it purposely leaves out, so I'm going to give you A&M.
Yeah.
Okay? This is who A&M is playing. UTSA, Utah State, and Samford.
I saw that.
Who was the national runner-up?
That would be the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Who is A&M playing in week 3?
The Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Where are they playing them?
At Notre Dame.
Which is? What city?
South Bend, Indiana.
All right, just making sure you're still with me.
Touchdown, Jesus.
Texas, who already said isn't a real member of the SEC, just upset Sandman. It doesn't have Ohio State, who won the national championship on this. The people just want to get a rise and get like, oh, yeah, you like it. We retweeted. Yeah, look at this. I'm a troll. Look what I did. Look what I did, mama.
Clickbait.
Texas, San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston State. Nothing. Okay. Alabama. Does it have Florida State on here? No. Because Alabama's not on here. That's weird. Arkansas. Alabama A&M, Arkansas State, Memphis. They're also playing Notre Dame.
Yep.
Why am I yelling again?
It's okay.
Auburn. Hello, Baylor. They're playing Baylor. It doesn't have them listed.
It's like their first game of the season is Baylor.
Oklahoma.
Okay.
They play Michigan. Is Michigan on this list?
No.
Exposing SEC bias, whatever your name is. Overrated SEC. You suck as a person.
Wow.
He might be a philanthropist. I don't know. I'm assuming if you make these kind of lies and put them on social media and take credit for it, you don't give donations at church. That's a fact.
In his defense, you kind of are doing exactly what that post was meant to do.
Yeah, but I like getting angry.
Okay. That's fair. Sometimes getting angry is fun.
What are we doing here, guys?
We're killing an hour.
You just killed the segment. Way to go. Way to kill it. Took away my vibe.
You were yelling.
It is disingenuous. It is just make your point and move on. If your point ain't good enough, sorry. Right? Like, it's just dumb. When we come back, we're going to kill another hour. Jason Howell will join us.
That's not killing.
Caroline Fenton. Isn't good? This is a good way. We're going to kill an hour like we killed it. Like, yes.
Good.
Caroline Fenton going to join us. Okay? No more monologue hour.
What?
We'll have Caroline. We'll have Jason Howell. There's a text that came in I wanted to get to. Maybe we'll get to it at some point. It's TexAgs Live. We're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studios. Time for a little recruiting country, brought to you by American Momentum Bank. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. That's where we find the Jason Howell, killer in an hour with Howell. I almost said it wrong. What's up, brother?
Same old stuff. Just trying to track down these kids, where they're going, who's doing what, figure out what A&M's doing. You know, same old summer everyday stuff.
So let me start off with this. A couple of weeks ago, things felt really good. Things felt pretty good. Yesterday or the day before, whenever it was, a couple of days ago. How do we feel overall right now in this place and time where A&M is, and also other programs starting to get momentum?
You still got to feel really good about what A&M has done. I think the success that Texas A&M has had over the course of this recruiting cycle stands alone. It stacks up with what anybody else is doing. It's going to be one of the top recruiting classes in the country. If you would have gone into the summer months and said A&M is going to have a top 4 to 8 recruiting class in the country and a top 3 to 4 recruiting class in the SEC, you have to feel good about that. And I think A&M's on target for that spot, if not higher. So they've done phenomenal, hitting their need positions. They've hit the state of Texas. They've gone national, and they're going into the season with a few openings left in their class, a few, spots they may want to shore up, but overall they can focus on the football season, the 2027 recruiting cycle, and getting things going on there and holding on to the guys they have.
So with a commit at every different position group, what's been the methodology? Has that just happened, especially this early, or was that you think a concerted effort?
Well, I think if you look at the state of Texas top 100, you'll see right now there's only 2 uncommitted prospects. So the cycle has gotten quicker over the last few years. You've seen earlier decisions. You've seen a lot more preseason decisions. And I think when it comes to Texas A&M this year, absolutely, you've targeted guys. As dominoes fall, other prospects are going to make decisions, and I don't think Texas A&M is necessarily in a unique situation, but it is on the more forward, on the schedule than some, and they've really positioned themselves well to, be able to focus more on certain needs here and there. I know. Offensive line and defensive line, I expect some evaluations to continue. Receiver, I think we're going to continue to see them pursue some guys that have been on the radar that may be committed elsewhere right now, as well as look at some of those guys that have come to campus in the past, or prior prospects, or even some new names that emerged. But overall, I think, it's been a deal where they've wanted to have a lot of their needs and position groups addressed, and I think they've done a phenomenal job of zeroing in on the top guys they've had at those positions, and kind of getting some things figured out and sorted out as they get ready for the fall.
I don't know what a typical year looks like. I don't have the numbers in front of me, or what A&M has typically done, but 11 states this early. How does that resonate with you?
I tell you what, since the Jimbo Fisher era, and when he came in and started recruiting more nationally, you've seen it more, I think, with Texas A&M. And this year, it tracks what they did last year under Mike Elko. So they've continued to have that broad reach nationally. You see them again in California, very heavy, with 4 commitments there. Georgia, they've really done well. I think having those connections from when Mike and the staff were at at Duke, and they've really done a good job of utilizing those connections there and bringing them west. And then you see them Arizona. Jordan Peterson, man, I got to give him credit. He's got a phenomenal pipeline there into Desert Edge, and this year it was BGA doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. But again, A&M going to familiar territory in Arizona and Utah, where last year A&M signed a 5-star receiver. This year they're going for a quarterback. So they've done a good job of hitting some areas that they have some familiar connections. I know South Carolina, that was a big Jay Bateman recruitment there with Tamarian Watkins. He has a lot of strong connections in that Rock Hill area, and so they've done a good job of utilizing those bonds and connections they've formed over the years, and mining some familiar areas, even though they may be a little further away.
Jason, I want to get more into that here in a moment, but I'm going to read you a text that came in about yesterday's show, Train Shiner. I'd like for Nuño to ask how about Texas buying players. Yes, I know it's legal. Yesterday's conversation in the third hour with the Georgia film guy was awesome. You could hear the hatred in his voice when it came to Texas. Never should have let those cockroaches in the conference. Regardless of that, have you seen the little back and forth between Texas and Georgia and what's happening, and any thoughts on those two programs, the way they're recruiting, and maybe the ripple effects for Texas A&M?
Well, yeah, I think in recent weeks you have seen, I think Texas went in to grab Tyler Atkinson, 5-star linebacker. They flipped a defensive lineman that had just committed to Georgia, I think 2 weeks prior. And, it's kind of funny. Texas lost like 10 recruiting battles in a row. They had like a bunch of guys that announced for other places and I guess I don't know, it was probably that month prior to this recent success. And there was actually a story that came out about, the market's too high. We're focusing our efforts elsewhere. And then immediately you see this happen. So yeah, it is what it is. Texas is going to recruit like that, especially now that it's open season on all that, and it's not just Texas. It's Texas Tech. It's Baylor. It's A&M is right there. Playing the NIL game with everybody else. So and Georgia to be complaining. I mean, pot meat cattle. So I'm not trying to stick up for Texas by any means, but it's the name of the game, and no, it's not surprising to see Sark and the Longhorns reel off some wins. You knew it was going to happen. They had some holes to fill, and they went all in to try and secure some top talents, and I'm sure they had to push the envelope on what they would really like to be spending, and maybe up the ante a little bit more than they wanted to in doing so. But you got to get the talent, and credit to them. They've been on a nice little run.
Talking to Jason Howell on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. All right, Jason, let's move on to some of the commits over the last little bit of time, and we'll start off with Tylen Wilson, who was the most recent one. Talk to us about how that all came down.
Yeah, so he told me he pretty much knew coming out of his official visit. I think that was June 13th weekend, and he was kind of looking at Clemson, Arkansas, Ole Miss. He didn't even take his official visit to Ole Miss after his Texas A&M visit, and he, Arkansas and Clemson were there, but I think even the people out in Pascagoula had a pretty good idea that Texas A&M was edging to the front and likely to secure his talents. And talking with those guys out there, man, it was a major win for the Aggies over both Clemson and Arkansas there at the end. 6'3", 185 pounds. rangy safety. I know me and Bronny talked about him looking like a center fielder back there, but a big physical guy that brings a lot to the table. And as a guy, Ish Aristide, really prioritized down the stretch. And along with Chance Collins, you've got yourself two dynamic players back there with a lot of upside. Wilson has been. This will be his 4th year as a starter for a really good Pascagoula team, and I know that over the years they've had a lot of talent out there, and I've been told Wilson is one of the top, 3, 4 guys that they've had come through that program as far as a leader and his ability on the field and what he brings to the table, on and off the field. Just a highly intelligent guy on the field, high IQ, who's been around the program for a number of years and just brings a lot there. So A&M definitely gets a big win there.
What about, you alluded to it earlier, but Tamarian Watkins and that recruitment, I think you said that Jay Bateman was very influential in that one.
Yeah, and I know Georgia was all in there, South Carolina, Miami. Tamarian Watkins, 6'4", 200 pounds. There was no doubt, I think, the Scooby Williams comparison is something they really talked about over the course of his recruitment. And Jay Bateman did a phenomenal job of zeroing in on T-Watt as a priority over the course of the recruiting process. You're talking about a kid that jumped up as a sophomore, has been a starter on a state championship defense, and comes with a high pedigree. His brother played college ball. And is a trainer in the area and has been working with him over the years. And the Aggies go into South Carolina and pull out a big win over the Gamecocks and Georgia as well. So yeah, it's Jay did a phenomenal job there with the pitch and getting to know the family, forming those bonds, and making sure they had all the bases covered.
What about George Lamont, who decommits, what was it, Monday, I believe it was? Oh,
yeah.
Any intel there?
Well, I mean, it was when he committed at the spring game, the timing was a little bit surprising, as is his decommit. Not necessarily that it happened, but just the timing of it all. George is a guy that visited a number of times in the spring and really got to know the staff. Coach Wiggins has done a phenomenal job there. He's a big 6'4", 6'5", 215-pound guy as a 27. So there's a lot of talk of him potentially being a tight end, but I know A&M was recruiting him primarily as a tight end or as a receiver, and Coach Wiggins was leading that charge. And I think really at the end of the day, it's early in that 27 cycle, and I do see him as a guy that to keep on the radar, and we'll see what happens down the line. It wouldn't surprise me to see it go either way right now. I know that's a broad spectrum, but I do see that the Aggies continue to kind of stay in that fight a little bit and continuing to recruit him and him vice versa, showing interest in Texas A&M.
Jason, when you sent me some notes for this show, you'd mentioned Coach Elko talking about the difference maker being Kyle Field.
Yeah.
You can look at the LSU game last year. You can look at several points in history. Just kind of expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, I think he touched on it at the THSCA Coaches Convention, Coaches School as they like to call it out there. It's he talked about, and basically I think what he's saying is, yeah, we do a lot of different things that may be unique to what we do in the recruiting process, but at the end of the day, the difference maker for a lot of these guys, and you see it last year, they made it a priority to get guys to high-profile games throughout the season. I look at Notre Dame, LSU, The game Thanksgiving weekend out there, the Lone Star Showdown, and I think you saw it play out. The atmosphere in Kyle Field is certainly unique. It's you've got over 100,000 people packed in. It's loud, it's rowdy. Everybody's into the game. The organization, the atmosphere. You saw instant reaction from player Aaron Gregory, Jordan Carter. Go back and watch their videos from the LSU weekend and just their experience. And they couldn't hear. They were just in awe of the crowd, and I know that played a role in A&M. Well, those two committed afterwards, and you saw it lay a lot of foundational work. It didn't necessarily lead to commitments, but like you mentioned at the convention, that Alabama win in 21 helped lay a lot of foundational work for that 22 class. And I think you see it in what they're doing with their game day experience for these recruits. Getting them in that atmosphere and letting them see what it's all about on game day is a huge asset for Texas A&M.
You guys got a question for Jason, you can text it in at 979-693-1150. You can also mention it on the chat. We'll come back and ask you what's next. We got a couple of dates on the calendar to be watching out for, so we'll ask you about that. But right now, Daily Company, they're a family-owned, licensed, insured business that offers HVAC and electrical, plumbing, and generator services. That is available to you 24/7, 365. When it comes to HVAC, they can take care of those thermostat repairs, the refrigerant leaks, the furnace failures, and the seasonal tune-ups. You also have plumbing issues, and they take care of that as well, with leak repairs, clogged drains, water heater installation, maintenance to keep those pipes in top shape. You got the electrical wiring, the outlet repairs, the upgrades for safety and efficiency. And when it comes to generator services, they'll repair them, they'll get them maintained, and they'll install them to ensure, preparedness for power outages. They take care of all of the Brazos Valley, College Station and Bryan, Houston and Austin, upfront pricing with no surprises. Call them up, 979-2060-2020. That's 979-260-2020, or visit them online at godaily.com to experience the daily difference. We're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Continuing on Recruiting Country, brought to you by American Momentum Bank. Let's start off with what's next, Jason. And you have a big decision coming up for Jace Johnson on August the 3rd.
Yeah, the Valdosta Lowndes standout quarterback is announcing between Texas A&M, South Carolina, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Florida State on August 3rd. And if I were to put odds on it, I said this last week, I would put Jace as the odds-on favorite as A&M's top quarterback, or one of the top quarterback priorities in that 27 class. And the Aggies have really situated themselves well. Jace is a guy who's visited a number of times. There's some connections to the state of Texas. So if I'm predicting there right now, I'm predicting Texas A&M to go back into the state of Georgia and continue building on what they're doing this fall, or this cycle, in the 26 cycle in the state of Georgia.
To go back to something we talked about last segment, why has the state of Texas done so well in the state of Georgia? Because I feel like it's a lot.
I heard something a long time ago. I'll be honest, I don't know how true it is, but Atlanta is an area where you see a lot of people move in, like a lot of major towns, but and so it's not like all these guys are rooted in the state of Georgia, and there are a ton of top prospects in the state of Georgia, and it's like the state of Texas and Texas A&M aren't going to get them all or prioritize them all. And Georgia is doing the same thing with their guys there in their home state. And there's a lot of really strong talent to be had. And I think it's definitely a hotbed that teams across the South or across the country have made sure to hit and make a priority in their recruiting plans. So just like teams recruit the state of Texas, Georgia is quickly is one of those states that you got to recruit. You got to recruit hard, and there's a lot of guys that just aren't going to be able to stay in state and play at the highest level of football that they may want to play at.
All right, let's go to the next one. Another Jace Matthews, the wide receiver, on August the 8th.
Yeah, out of Greene County in Leakesville, Mississippi. He's down to Texas A&M, LSU, Ole Miss, and Auburn with an August 8th decision. I want to say that's the first week of their spring practice, and he's trying to get that decision done before he starts his season. I think he's gathering intel. I do feel like he's leaning one way or another, and right now I think LSU is probably the school to watch there. A&M's in it as well. It's not something that's completely done or anything like that. But right now, if I'm picking, I'm giving LSU the edge. They received his last official visit. I know he has some strong connections there, and that LSU receiver tradition is something that's piqued his interest. But A&M did a phenomenal job. Holman Wiggins has made some strong pushes there, and they really seem to open his eyes after visits in the spring and for his June official.
Talking to Jason Howell here on TexAgs Live. All right, Jason, let's go with the safety, Braylon Womack. His announcement's coming towards the middle, or I guess the end of August 22nd.
Yeah, another Mississippi standout, 5-star safety. Braylon visited several times. I want to say he visited 2 or 3 times during the fall. But as this one's played out, there has been a sense that Ohio State and maybe Florida have edged to the front of his list. And I would lean elsewhere as well. And I think A&M securing the talents of Tylen Wilson and having Chance Collins in the boat, I think may be indicators of that as well, that things are trending another way there. But Hey, Tylen was talking about trying to recruit him, so bring another Mississippi safety on board. So we'll see what happens. But right now, I'm tending to lean towards Ohio State. I know he has he's been following Caleb Downs quite a bit, and that's a guy that he's studied a lot, and there's a lot of connections there with the Buckeyes that tend to lean toward me picking him to head to the Big Ten.
All right, Jason, let's look at some prospects that you're keeping an eye on that maybe it could be an A&M slant. Tight end Evan Jacobson. Evan Jacobson.
Yeah, out of Waukee, Iowa. He's this is a big dual sport guy. All-state basketball. He plays travel basketball. He's attracting attention in both sports. Texas A&M has been right up there on his list. He's visited multiple times. Coach Ellsworth has really been on him throughout and forged a really strong relationship there that goes back for a number of years with the family. So, but Evan, 6'7", 225, big pass catcher, big target, athletic. I love how even at that size he's able to bend and get low and get leverage in the blocking game as well. But Texas A&M, Iowa State, Notre Dame, and Stanford are his top four. And we've been hearing there was a lot of Notre Dame there for a while, and I think the Irish are still very much in it. But they picked up a few tight end commits. Iowa State has really come on strong as the home state school, but A&M, I think the Aggies have really done a phenomenal job of presenting their package to him and letting him know how they can utilize him and Coach Klein's offense and how tight end friendly it is also something that's a big plus to him. And I like where the Aggies are situated now. He doesn't have a decision date, which is why I've kind of put I think these next few prospects on guys to watch. But if I'm picking, that's a guy I think the Aggies have a real legitimate chance to land in this class.
And Tank Jones?
Yeah, Tank Jones out of Mobile, Alabama. Another one without a commitment date, but Texas A&M, Alabama, and Oregon are his three right now. And there's been a lot of Alabama talk lately. The Crimson Tide are definitely putting a full court press on him and trying to keep him home. But I know Texas A&M is also right there in the middle of it as well. And they're the Aggies and Coach Elko and that whole defensive staff is doing a great job of staying in his ear and trying to make sure he knows what their plans are. Now, again, like some of these other guys, he visited multiple times this fall, and the atmosphere in College Station is something that's really helped the Aggies lay a foundation there. And right now I tend to lean a little bit Alabama, but I haven't given up hope in Texas A&M just yet.
Jason, let's close it out with just some thoughts on other positions and groups that we should be looking out for: wide receiver, offensive line, and defensive line.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. I think those evaluations are going to continue. Receiver, I look for Tristan Keys, who's committed to LSU. I would say Booby Feaster is another one to keep an eye on. It wouldn't surprise to see either one of those guys at games this fall. And there's some guys, Jaden Warren, who committed to Houston, and some in-state prospects or even some out-of-state prospects who maybe committed elsewhere, continue to get evaluated, or even a new name or two that emerges as a senior there. Offensive line, kind of the same way. I look for another addition at on the offensive line, and a bigger body on the defensive line. Maybe keep an eye on Jamian Winfield, who's committed to USC, and it wouldn't surprise to see again them keep an eye out for maybe a Nelson McGuire type, or there was a kid out of Maid Creek last year that really blew up that nobody really circled until the fall. So you could see some new names start to be prioritized as these first few weeks of the season in late August, early September, and tape comes available. You could see some new names really emerge and become more prioritized targets. But yeah, keep an eye on those three positions. I think an addition or two in either one of those areas would not be out of the question.
Jason, appreciate you, buddy. Thanks so much.
Always. Thanks for having me.
See ya. Jason Howell here on TexAgs Live. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. We'll talk to Caroline Fenton, get her thoughts on the SEC, Big Ten, ACC rivalry. We'll get into that here in a moment. A moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21, or online at CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. There's car buying, and it can be a stressful process, and then there's car buying at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. You start on their website, you get a feel for what they have. They've got decades of experience to bring to the table with one goal: complete customer satisfaction with the right pricing. Doesn't matter who you ask. I'll make up some fake people. Ask Sarah. She'll say, yeah, that place was great. I'll make up another one. Michael, yeah, that place is great. It's not about the fake people. It's about me. I did it. We bought a vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Very happy with our Tahoe, with the entire process when we found it, the customer service during and afterwards. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan, to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. Remember the good old days when Caroline Fenton would be on the show weekly, and then she got too big, started doing all these national things, Sirius, Yahoo Sports. I remember the good old days when we would text each other how bad we're doing in the Pick Six. Well, those days are coming back. Caroline Fenton joining us here on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. What up?
It is so good to be back because when we talk, that means that it's almost football season. But it could never be too big for you, Nuño. Never, ever a day in my life. Well, don't you dare. I'll be here every time I'm invited.
How are things at Yahoo? How are they treating you?
Everything is great. We have some exciting new things on the horizon. So you'll be seeing a little bit more of me on the Yahoo platforms, I will say. But that's all I can say for now. But very exciting things on the horizon, and things are doing great.
Well, let's start things off with this whole East Coast, West Coast rivalry rap style between the Big Ten, the SEC, and the ACC, all kind of pointing fingers.
I'm going to take the ACC out of this conversation if we can, because I view the Power Four, it's the Big Ten and the SEC, and it's the ACC, and it's the Big 12. I think we all know that, and frankly, I think the ACC and the Big 12 also can acknowledge that or understand that, but don't want to acknowledge that. I hear all of the comments being made about, from SMU and the ACC about the big bad Big Ten and the big bad SEC. But that's just the reality of it. That's just the powers that be in college football. Look at the representation of the college football playoff this past season. Look at the representation in the college football playoff over the last 10 to 15 years, the national champions over the last 10 to 15 years. Yes, Clemson had its run. And, yes, Florida State back when Jimbo Fisher was there and Jameis Winston was there, had their time in the sun, but it has largely been the Big Ten and the SEC. And that's really the feud and the back and forth and the utilizing of the media that I'm the most interested in, because it's very clear and obvious that Tony Petitti, the commissioner of the Big Ten, wants to utilize this 4-4-2-2 automatic qualifier model. And Greg Sankey has kind of just hasn't really stood 10 toes on anything. Greg Sankey has said, hey, look, we think 5-11 is best for our conference. SEC coaches don't want to add a ninth conference game. The Big Ten and Tony Petitti aren't interested in 4 automatic qualifiers for the SEC if they don't add that ninth conference game. So that's really the feud that I'm interested in. And I think that's going to be how the college football playoff and the future of it and the future of how it's structured, it will be because of what the Big Ten and the SEC decide, not necessarily, shots being fired from the ACC or the Big 12.
Do you like the continued expanded playoff thought, or now after a year, are you like, I kind of miss the old days?
I am pro 12. I was pro 4. I thought 4 was good. But then I kind of thought about it and I thought, okay, well, in a 12-team playoff, we get more good games. We get more games that matter. We get Tennessee and Ohio State. We get Indiana and Notre Dame. And even though maybe on paper those matchups didn't seem overly sexy, it was so fun to be able to see a playoff where we had Ohio State lose to a measly Michigan team at the end of the season and then turn around and do what they did against Tennessee and against Oregon, respectively. I like more games that matter, and I like expanding the field to teams that can get better throughout the season. 16 to me right now, sure, maybe 16 someday might be great. Let's figure out 12. Let's perfect 12. The 12-team playoff wasn't perfect last year. The automatic seeding and the top 4 conference champions, that wasn't the way to do it. They're fixing it this year. Let's continue with 12. Let's figure out 12 and let's perfect this playoff where it is right now before we expand to 16. Because right now in a 16-team playoff, there doesn't seem to be a structure that makes sense for everybody.
Caroline, here's a question I'm going to feel weird asking. Does it feel different around Texas A&M, even though A&M went 8-4 last year?
It's interesting because the reason why I think it feels different is because I don't really know how to feel. I feel like in so many years past, Texas A&M was that team that it was like an ex-boyfriend that I just kept going back to. Like they gave me no reason to like him. He gave me no reason to believe in him. Yet every single time I would go back to him. And Texas A&M, at least in the last couple of years under Jimbo Fisher, I would say, okay, I know that they were not even bowl eligible last year, but I think this year is the year. I think this year is the year. This year, though, going into year 2 under Mike Elko, it feels like there is so much more stability. It feels like there's more competence happening in that program to where I don't want to get too high or too low. I want to say, let's let Mike Elko figure things out. They lost Shamar Turner. They lost Shamar Stewart. They lost Nick Scorton on the defensive side of the ball. Let's see what Mike Elko can do with all of these transfer portal additions. Let's see what Marcel Reed looks like in year 2. Let's see this run game develop, but also let's see how he develops as a passer. It feels different for me this year with Texas A&M because I'm not picking them to win the SEC or to be represented in Atlanta. It feels different because I am allowing myself to step back and say, let's see how all of these pieces kind of fall in line, because it does feel like the foundation in College Station is much stronger than it was over the last few years.
Caroline, I'm going to ask you about Nuss, as I'm sure you've been asked about a bunch. Considering 4,000 yards last year, amazing wide receivers, but he's a different quarterback, aren't they all, when the offensive line doesn't block? I mean, that's a fact. But with so many questions on the offensive line, so much hype around him, do you, as an LSU alum and fan, do you buy the hype on Nuss this year?
I do. And I think it's just kind of the question of what are you talking about hype? Are we talking about Garrett Nussmeier having a Heisman campaign and being Joe Burrow 2.0 in an LSU uniform? Well, maybe we should probably pump the brakes a little bit. But am I buying the hype that Garrett Nussmeier can do enough to make LSU a college football playoff team in a 12-team playoff? Yes, I do. You know, I just mentioned I don't think he's going to be Joe Burrow, but you look at what Joe Burrow did in year 2. You know, year 1, he was solid, okay, not great. Year 2, under that offense, year 2, getting used to those receivers. Obviously, it was the 2019 season that went down in history. Jaden Daniels, year 1 at LSU, good. Not great, showed some good things, but, you know, it was an okay season. And then year 2, he won the Heisman Trophy. So I think that LSU in recent history has shown progress for quarterbacks that have had a lot of experience and are going into year 2 as a starter, but year 5 as a quarterback in college football. Yes, a lot of question marks on the offensive line. When you lose Will Campbell, one of the best left tackles in all of college football, you don't feel better about it. But I think what I do feel better about with Garrett Nussmeier, even with some changes and some pieces around him that are different, what gives me confidence is possibly the confidence that he might have in himself, the confidence to run the football a little bit better, the confidence for the coaching staff to call running plays a little bit more, the confidence to not have to play hero ball every single play. You don't want to take that away from him because there are some YOLO balls that he throws and they're so perfectly placed. And it makes me think, you maniac, how in the world did you feel like you could throw that football, but it worked? Doing more of that, but doing it more calculated and having this confidence under him of, I have a year under my belt. There are a lot of changes around me, but he himself as a decision maker, as a passer, and adding more mobility kind of into his toolkit, that gives me a little bit more confidence paired with a defense that I think should have a little bit more continuity going into this season.
Caroline, Notre Dame, I don't know how much you followed their offseason, but do you think they're going to, I mean, they're going to be good. We know that, but are they going to struggle a little bit with the changing the guard with Miami week 1, A&M week 3?
That's a murderer's row to start the season. I mean, everybody kind of talks about Notre Dame not being in a conference. You know, they might get the rinky-dink additions of Navy or whatever it might be on their usual schedule, but that is an absolute grind to start the season. I think that it's fair to expect that any team that has as much turnover as Notre Dame has had after last season, after making, you know, their trip to the national championship last season, I think it's fair to expect that there are going to be some bumps in the road, especially with a new quarterback coming in with very limited experience. I look at that week 3 against Texas A&M as a measuring stick for both teams. Where is Marcel Reed? Where is he as a passer? How is he developed? How is the defense kind of settling in with so many new pieces? And it's kind of similar with Notre Dame. With all of these new pieces, how are they settling in with a really difficult test early in the season? Now, if either of those teams lose that game, I don't think it's season over. But I think that will be a big measuring stick for both of these teams and where these programs are respectively.
Talking to Caroline Fenton here on TexAgs Live. Are you as high on Lenore Sellers as the world is?
No, And that's nothing against Lenora Sellers. It is nothing against him at all. I think that he has been electric. I think that he, as a first-year starter last year, he's kind of thrown to the wolves a little bit, and he handled it in stride. I think that he can be lethal with his legs. I saw it as an LSU fan firsthand, exactly how lethal he can be with his legs. But I think that I'm just trying to just take a little bit of a breather here. I think we all need to do that collectively as an SEC society of like, let's take a breath about Arch Manning. Maybe let's let him show us what he is rather than us crowning him the Heisman Trophy winner already on July 23rd. Let's maybe take a breath on DJ Lagway a little bit. He showed a lot of really great things last season at Florida, and if he stays healthy in that Georgia game, I think Florida probably wins that game. But let's just take a little bit of a breather with a lot of these quarterbacks that are either stepping into year 2 as a starter, year 1 as a full-time starter, or year 1 as a starter, period. Let's take a breath a little bit and then let's see what they kind of develop into. But I do very much so think with the way that the schedule shapes out, and if Lenora Sellers can continue to develop, I think that South Carolina absolutely can be a playoff team. But I am not willing to crown Lenoris La Heisman like I think a lot of people are. Same thing with DJ Lagway. Let's see if he can stay healthy. Let's see what they can do in year 2. Sophomore slump is a real thing.
Caroline, great stuff. We'll do it during the season here soon, all right?
Absolutely appreciate y'all. Have a good one.
See ya. Caroline Fenton there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break before the final segment of the show. You are listening to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Final segment of the program, TexAgs Live. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Reese Nygren.
Howdy. So we had a texter text in earlier.
Text in.
Yeah. Earlier you asked the question. You asked texters to send in their if questions about A&M. So Aggie Ace.
It was based on the Bill Connolly ifs for opponents in 2025.
Aggie Ace sent in a few. The first one is
Aggie Ace.
Yeah. Said, what if the transfers do exactly how they did at their previous schools?
I would like to see better. Right? So, for instance, Casey Concepcion, I hope he's better than he was last year at NC State. I know the quarterback situation wasn't ideal. I'd like to see him from 2 years ago, even surpass that. But Mario Craver, I hope he does better than he did his freshman year at Mississippi State. But I understand the point, right? I hope that Julian Humphreys, if he is the other starter, and that's still a big if, that he starts 12 games, not 10 of the 12 games. So there is that. But yes, I understand your point. And yes, I'd like to see if everybody reaches their, I just want to see them be better. I want them to be better in this system.
I think that's fair. Now, this next one, we'll assume that Marcel Reed is healthy for the entire season. What if Marcel Reed ends the year with 4 total turnovers?
How many did he have last year? Like 11?
I think
6, 7 interceptions? I don't know.
Yeah.
Look that up.
Okay.
So we said 4 total
turnovers.
Let's see. What do I think about that? That'd be fantastic. So last year he had 6 interceptions. Okay, so I think I was right on that. And I don't think he had 6 fumbles. Let's see. That'd be an upgrade.
Next one. What if the defense makes 80% of tackles off of first contact?
What were they last year?
I don't know if that's
80%. Yes, because even on second contact, ask Lenore Sellers. Yes, I would take that. Sign me up for that for years.
And this next one, the last one is, what if Le'Veon Moss stays healthy? So I don't know if that
what if was last year.
Yeah, I don't know if that what if is last year or
all
this
those
year.
Games. I do think at least one of those games goes differently. Auburn, I think, goes differently. South Carolina potentially could have gone differently. Potentially. So, if he stays healthy all year along with a healthy quarterback, then, I think 9-3 is certainly in the cards. I have them right now at 8-4. I want to change my mind. I do. I want to change my mind. All right, that's going to do it for TexAgs Live here on a Wednesday. Tomorrow on the show, I know we got Shireen. I know we got AT. I know we got Stephen McGee. I'm sure we got the fan show guys.
It's a solid lineup.
There is that. I want to thank everybody for listening and watching. Thank you so much. We will see you mañana.